Yes, welcome to the No State Project. I'm your host, Marc Stevens, author of Government Indicted. Of course, the website, the website is Marc. A lot of people would have been happy if that would have continued. The website is marcstevens.net. We are here live from the fortified compound in Mesa, Arizona for episode 28 of the big commercial-free broadcast here. If you want to join me on the big show, it's 218-632-9399, 218-632-9399. The passcode, of course, is 2020 with the pound sign, 2020 and hashtag. And you can also instant message me at Skype. It is Frank Rizzo 3. That's Frank Rizzo with the number 3. I want to get right off the bat. Remember, Jackalope is happening right now this week till Sunday in Bacchus Meadow, northeast of Phoenix. So if you're in Phoenix, definitely, or Arizona, check it out. Thank everyone for the continued support of the show. There's kind of a double-edged sword that you don't want to feed trolls. You don't want to just keep doing the same thing. So I'll address some of the comments but in a broader sense of what we do here on the No State Project, and that's helping people get tickets thrown out to minimize the damage that these predators called bureaucrats are looking to do to you. Because when a bureaucrat enters your life, that's what they want to do. They want to damage you. They want your money. They want your property. They want you to, bow down and respect their authority. Thing you have to realize, and this any critical analysis of this will show that this is true. I'm going to discuss here. The problem is when you start with a lie, okay, you have to weave quite a net of propaganda and more BS, more lies to cover up that lie. So when anyone calls you out for being a charlatan, then you have a magic bag of tricks that you can here you go. I don't have a burden of proof. It's all philosophy anyway. I don't have a burden of proof. I'm absolutely correct, and if you disagree with me, there's no we can't hear any no. We can only affirm our claims. We can't rule against them. See, and that's what and so obviously you have to recognize that is dishonest to the core to say that for anybody. And this is a thing where we don't accept double standards. That is just a fallacious, it's a logical fallacy. It's not an excuse. It's not a justification. Double standards are not valid. That's why I say on the show, just because you lie, steal, and kill and cheat other people, and just because you call yourself a government, it doesn't mean that you're not lying, stealing, killing, and committing all these immoral acts. You may have a cheerleading squad that you make sure. See, the elite make sure that their house Negroes, yes, I'm talking about lawyers in particular, that the house Negro, and again, I'm just quoting from Malcolm X, you get the house Negroes to do the dirty work for you and to sing your praises. So you make sure that your henchmen, your apologists, are well compensated. And you accomplish that by using your guns to impose a monopoly on the things lawyers do. That if somebody doesn't have the Bar Association's permission, then what they're doing is a crime. And it's only a crime, it's what we call mala prohibum. It's only a crime because someone said so. Not because it's wrong by nature, not because it's immoral, not because it's unethical, and certainly not because it causes any harm to anybody. It's wrong because someone said so. So you're going to find out when you're dealing with lawyers and you're dealing with apologists for this criminal organization called the government, you'll find out that getting a straight answer from them, not very easy. Unless it's to affirm their position and to tell you that you're wrong. You are always wrong if you disagree with the lawyer. They may not be able to articulate why you're wrong. Okay? That's not necessary. Okay? But you're dead wrong. understand that every time someone called government talks, or when their apologist says something, whether you're in or out of court, know that their word is the word of God. Okay? And speaking of, it's kind of a douche move that you'll get in the legal realm that you get in the religious realm. And that is, someone outside of religion who doesn't believe in religion because there's no evidence of it will bring forth what they believe is archaeological evidence for evolution. Because why? The people on the religious side claim they need evidence of evolution before they'll believe it. Yet when you ask for proof of their beliefs, oh no, we don't need evidence. It's a matter of faith. Now, there are still parts of the world that you have to believe in their God and worship, or they will kill you. Or if you believed it at one time, and now you don't, they think it's justified to kill you. But that's not most of the world, certainly not here in the U.S. for the most part. But this is the same kind of douche move that you're going to find out if you get a ticket or you get a letter from a local predator called a bureaucrat from the local government. Because they start off with a lie, everything they're going to say to you is going to be a justification to cover up their lack of evidence, to cover up that lie. So know right off the bat, if you're going to be defending against one of these things, the indisputable facts are these. And you'll notice, in and out of court, these apologists don't want to address these facts. Because facts are very, very, very uncomfortable things. What we call government, they're just men and women. You got people like Joe Arpaio, Barack Obama, Donald Trump. These are the men and women. Hillary Clinton, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders. They're just people. They're men and women. Indisputable fact. This is objective truth. This is not philosophy. You could say, prove that they exist. You can see pictures of them. You could see them talking. We've all witnessed it. They're just men and women. Not philosophy. How do they stay in the position that they're in? How do they get paid? Again, objective reality. They force everybody in a certain geographic area to give them money and compliance. Okay? This is an objective fact. I have personally spent some time, overnight sometimes, in their gulags, their cages. They have a prison system. That's an objective fact. Not philosophy. It's not philosophy either that they force everyone to pay them. It's even in their sacred writ. Oh, written by the hand of Odin himself, the law. That might be philosophy. They're just rules written down by men and women. They're just rules. Objective reality is they're rules written down. Their constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, which they call, not philosophic. It's not a matter of philosophy. It's a matter of objective reality, as real as this piece of paper is. But I don't claim that this piece of paper is endowed with magic, that if I say everyone has to follow my rules, that it automatically means that you do. And to turn around and say to me, well, Mark, Where is your evidence that your rules apply? You cannot challenge me. Philosophy. Well, let's go one step further. I can say my rules apply because I said so. I am the supreme arbiter of Marc's law. And it says in the law, I wrote right here, my rules, my law applies because the law says so. It's right here. It says it applies to everybody. And because, that's right. You're going to say, Marc, that's logical fallacy. That's not proof. You're assuming facts, not evidence. You're assuming it applies in the first place so that what it says has any validity at all. Oh, you see? But because it's in my law, you don't get to challenge it because now it's philosophical. You see? You see, when I do it, the first thing that's coming to your mind is, wow, he really sounds like an idiot. Wow, he sounds like a douchebag. But you know what? I'm very happy he's got nobody with guns actually believing him. Because now we'd have a problem. Because what the problem you have is that's exactly what's happening in court. Those facts I just laid out. Men and women with magical, who think their pieces of paper are magic, believe that their laws apply for no other reason than the laws say so, because they wrote it down. Why doesn't the law of Alfred apply anymore? He wrote it down. Why don't they apply anymore? Why don't the ancient Sumerian laws apply to us now? They wrote them down. They say they apply. So you see, if you just apply the same reasoning, this web of BS, if you apply it to me or you see it falls apart completely. See, the only real difference is I'm not a crook. I'm not forcing anyone to believe this and to act as if they believe it. And I'm certainly not forcing people to pay me money. But when you go into court, when you are attacked by these people, this is the kind of trash that you're going to get. And they say it like they're legal scholars, or just like that they're intellectuals, that they're smart. They are literally saying to you that a written instrument applies to you because you're physically in Arizona or you're physically in Canada. Well, here's the thing. Whether written instruments apply to someone or not is not a matter of philosophy. Even under their system, their laws say certain things have to be, and their rules of evidence, certain things have to be present for written instruments to apply to somebody and create an obligation. And it's not just because the document says so, or you wouldn't have any litigation on contracts at all. Because the entire be-all, end-all of the law on contracts would be it's signed. But then again, here, we don't even have that. It's not signed by anybody. And even if it was, they're all dead. So let's break it down a bit. And there's plenty of evidence of success on markstevens.net. I know there are a lot of people, there's a handful of people that will try, they try to spin it that even when a judge literally grants the motion, it had nothing to do with the motion. And we should believe them because they're lawyers. Oh, they're real lawyers, not just, an internet lawyer. Look at the evidence. Look at the rationale behind it. So what happens is if, let's say on a traffic ticket, a police officer is making a claim against you on the penalty of perjury, okay? I started this on the show the last time. I'll have to put it in the video for this. They are actually saying they're making a claim that their law, which is a written instrument, objective. This is an issue of fact, people. He is saying, I saw Marc in Arizona. I have probable cause because the laws apply, and I have probable cause to investigate a possible violation of the laws that apply to Marc because he's physically in Arizona. And we put in the motion that there's no evidence to support that. None. It's not really denied. It's not like they're saying that there is evidence. What happens outside of court and sometimes in court that you'll experience when you stand up to these predators is you should wear a poncho for the wave of verbal diarrhea that you're going to hear from these people. The tortured legal logic. You just I can't believe. It's not enough you gave me this ticket and forced me to be here, but you're going to insult my intelligence? See, what you'll encounter. Oh, now mind you, this doesn't apply outside of court because we'll get to that and why it doesn't apply outside of court. There's so many ways this web of lies just falls apart in contradictions. You could spend, hours going over, and it's just not worth it. The cop makes a legal determination against you. And there's two arguments here why it's irrefutable. That in and of itself, you got evidence of a rigged game. The entire foundation of the prosecution's case. The entire foundation. Irrefutable and not subject to attack. Now, if they do say it is subject to attack and you ask for evidence and they instead give you an opinion, the moment you point out that that's not responsive to your question for proof, the moment that you do that, you are magically now making a philosophical argument. And that relieves the prosecution from their burden of proof. What wonderful magic indeed. The mere act of questioning a police officer's claim. I know, you got to keep from laughing. This is some garbage that is peddled to keep people, to protect people from getting harmed by my material. Yeah. If you don't accept their legal response, you change the nature of the inquiry into a philosophical one. And the courts can't answer philosophical questions. Well, if the applicability of the law is philosophical and not within the scope or the jurisdiction of the court to hear, then the cop has no business accusing you of a philosophical argument. But you're not accepting his answer. Yeah. If you ask me where I was, hey, Marc, where were you on the night of the 31st when the murder was committed? And I say, I was born in Brooklyn. And you say, that's not responsive. Can I come back and say, now you're arguing philosophy because you're not accepting my answer? I mean, seriously, this is exactly the kind of argument being used against my work as to discredit it and show me to be a scammer. That not accepting a non-responsive answer changes the tone or the nature of the inquiry into a philosophical one that's off limits. See, we've seen this on the No State Project many, many times because I've dealt with criminals for over 20 years now. I did a whole video about Greg Ives and what a complete dishonest move it was. Jurisdiction is off the table, but we have jurisdiction. So what it amounts to is this. You can make a philosophical type argument against somebody if you call yourself a government. And that is allowed. You can argue the Constitution applies all day long. You can allege that all day long. The rules that require you to have evidence, such as Ashcroft versus Iqbal, don't apply because it's philosophy. And so you can allege that and ruin someone's life because of it, but they're not allowed to challenge it and expect there to be any evidence, because asking for evidence makes it philosophical. You see that? You see, and I shouldn't be spending any time on this because it's so unbelievably stupid. It is such a stupid thing to say, Mark, they can allege the Constitution applies, but you cannot ask for proof because then you're making a It's a double standard. It is just dishonest. And so what he does is conflate a legal opinion of a police officer or of an IRS agent in an affidavit affidavit of good faith, and he conflates that with the law itself. Just another logical fallacy. The claim the Constitution, a written instrument, applies is not the same thing as the Constitution. And it is a written instrument. And if you're going to say a written instrument applies, I don't give a damn. Don't listen to any of this crap. If somebody says an objective piece of reality applies to you and obligates you to do something, he's not making a philosophical claim against you. He's making basically a claim against you, and he has to have proof. Put it up again. That which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And the only reason why when we go to court, the only reason why we pay attention to these lawyers for any amount of time is because they have a damn prison system. And having a prison system means you can make stuff up on the fly to cover your lack of evidence. The fact that you cannot meet your burden of proof. So when we go into court, we're still going to make these challenges because our job is to show that the entire thing is unfair. Presumption of innocence? Really? Isn't the applicability of the law not a philosophical issue? Isn't it the basic legal foundation of the prosecutor's claim? Isn't it an element of a mala prohibita charge? That there's no crime without their sacred law? It's an element of the charge. And they'll admit that jurisdiction is a trial issue that has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. How the hell can you do that when you've got these people cheering philosophy? How do you prove the Constitution applies beyond a reasonable doubt with an opinion? And I'm somehow misinterpreting, and not because I'm just an idiot. You see, I'm not a lawyer, I'm an internet lawyer, so I'm so grotesquely stupid I can't understand basic common sense, basic English. That when their rules say conclusory statements are not sufficient, there must be factual allegations. That's not what it means. When the rule says the witness there has to be evidence showing the witness has personal first-hand knowledge of the matters he's testifying to, and his prior statements and his testimony on the stand include allegations that the laws apply to you and you violated them, for some reason, he doesn't have to have personal knowledge of that. Not because the rule requires it, but because I'm so stupid and you're so stupid. We are so collectively stupid that when it says the witness has to have personal knowledge, it didn't mean he had to have personal knowledge of that. Yes. And so this weaving of lies and conflating and double standards that you have to weave to cover up for the fact that there is no government. Even if we accept that philosophy, they're saying it cannot be proven. You cannot prove that there are citizens in states if it's just philosophy. And it doesn't matter if you go and you quote directly from a constitution, which is the supreme law. They will still tell you, even when you quote the law, well, the law is just quoting philosophy. You got to just shake your head, and you can't spend the time. I've wasted an enormous amount of time with that, and it has to stop. At this point, we're just repeating the same things, and it has to stop. But this is what you, This is what you have to prep for, and why it's so important to use the Socratic method to bring out these contradictions. Because they're not going to say in front of a jury, whoa, even though we're not giving you any proof that you're asking for, because you're not accepting our non-responsive answer, you've now reframed it to an issue of philosophy. So, Yeah, pull that crap in open court where there's an audience. Pull that crap at a city council hearing. Don't just do it on my forum. Do it publicly so there's an audience of people that can laugh at you for the stupid things that are flowing out of your dishonest face. We have to accept that every single step of the way, these people are going to be, dodging and weaving their burden of proof. I've even had them say, well, I don't have to prove that. Isn't it the foundation of your case? Do you have a case without this claim being true? No, I still don't have to prove it. That's why I've said so many times, having a prison system and forcing people to pay you means never having to have a logical, factual foundation for your claim. You could just say it. Vox et praeterea nihil. Voice and nothing more. It's true because we say so. Give me a break. Give me a break. Don't come out and say that I'm a fraud based on something that you think is true just because you said so. Address the actual facts. Show where I'm wrong with my facts that lead to the conclusion that there is no government, that there's just a criminal organization. Show an error in the evidence and the logic. That's how you go about establishing something's true or not true. They are just men and women, and they force everyone to pay them. And if I force people, if we force people to pay strangers to give us money, we're crooks, we're immoral, everyone will say it's unethical. That same standard applied to them shows that they are criminal. And that's without a double standard. Again, you got to show an error in the logic. Just saying Marc is an idiot, Marc is stupid, Marc's a con man, or the motion wasn't granted because Marc said so. All these things, none of that matter. Look at the damn evidence. So when we are in court, that's exactly what they are trying to get away from. Everything to get away from that fact that they are just men and women forcing us to pay them. I said almost 14 years ago. What is it possible that everything you think is real is just a public relations scheme? Damn right it is. The Constitution is a written instrument. There's not a shred of evidence that applies to anybody. It's not a matter of philosophy. They're saying a written instrument applies. So when we go to court, we do our best to hold them to their burden of proof. And so someone had written, how do we write motions that are not ignored? You're not listening to what I'm saying on the show. When you ask a question like that, you're not paying attention. They are men and women forcing us to pay them. We are doing damage control to limit the amount of damage these predators are trying to cause to us by making it impossible for them to make it look good. We are asking them questions to bring out the contradictions. That's all we can do. It's all we can do. So that it's so bad that if we have to appeal it, they'll look at that and say, the man testified that the law is applied. Just because asking for evidence the claim is based on is not improper. It goes directly to prior testimony. If you don't want him testifying he broke the law, don't rely on him as a witness. So we can't write motions that they won't ignore. The only time that they won't ignore it is if you want to go to jail, if you want to put a threat on there, put some gay porn on there. I've always toyed with the idea of being able to prove whether they're, reading it, because I don't think these people read the motions. We've had them admit that they hadn't read it, and then they went and denied it, and so they denied it without reading it. So I toy with the idea, well, let's put let's take a page from the Good Will Hunting guys. Put some graphic sexual language in there, right in the middle, just to see if they are reading it. But That otherwise you do something like short of doing something like that, they ignore it because having a prison system means never having to be honest. And before I'll get to a call in just a second. So I've laid out a pretty good case that there is no government, it's just a criminal organization. And that's because they force everyone to pay. So because it's a criminal organization doesn't mean that everyone is a vicious killer and doing immoral things day to day. They're part of a criminal organization, though. Lawyers are officers and counselors of that criminal organization. And no one, even these trolling lawyers, will dispute the facts. They're just men and women forcing us to pay them. They're criminals. And their bar association, which makes them officers and counselors of the court, is part of a criminal organization. So don't look to a bunch of criminals who have to spin webs of lies and use double standards as any kind of authority on anything other than how to trick people, how to scam people, and how to make money through a criminal organization. Because nobody could seriously argue that lawyers would make as much money as they do if people weren't forced to, if it wasn't made criminal to do it without permission from the lawyers. Yeah. All right. Let's get to we have a new caller. We got area code 847. You're live on the No State Project. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good afternoon, Mark. This is Rick from the People's Republic of Illinois. How are you?
I'm doing well today.
First off, let me thank you for all you do. You were quick to respond with the documents that I requested. I bought last week. I was received a citation for improper cell phone usage.
Oh no!
And it was kind of weird. It basically says, listen, you can just pay this here. This is where you mail it. And there was little other information on the ticket. It looked like a parking ticket, quite honestly, when he issued it to me. So I then said, well, wait a minute, I'd like to contest this. And the officer, looked at me as if, well, you must be completely mad, but okay, here's what you do. So I called the police station to set up a hearing, as it was instructed on the ticket. And we went round and round because my work schedule and their schedule didn't jive. So anyway, I get the documents from you, and I call up the police station and say, hey, I need to send these documents. Where do they go? Well, first they started sending me down the county courthouse. And then they realized, wait a minute, this is a compliance ticket. So you're going to have a hearing at the police station. Okay, well, what I need from you, a nice person at the police station, is the prosecutor's name and, as your instructions were, the prosecutor's name to send the motions to. And the woman on the phone, who was the deputy clerk, she said, I can't give you that information. And I said, what is this guy, Batman? It doesn't make any sense. She didn't want to give me that information. She said, only I can contact him. And I was on the speakerphone, and my brother-in-law was with me. It was beautiful. And he said, ma'am, this isn't a request. It's a requirement. We need to file these instruments with the court. And she said, okay, his office is XXXXX. So anyway, that's where we're at with this story, and thanks for listening to my rather lengthy narrative. But I'm wondering, is there anything different I need to do because this is a compliance ticket and not essentially a moving violation, the way I understand it? I could be off, though.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. I would point out that was not a lengthy narrative, that I've actually done shows with a number of people that gave lengthy narratives. I've actually, yeah, so that was nothing compared to the drivel that I've had to put up with doing the show. And I won't mention. No, that was fine. That was to the point and got the information that we needed, and so that was fine. Is it actually a prosecutor that's going to hear it, or is it just someone at the police department?
No, there is a prosecutor, and again, it took a little bit of time to wrestle this information. And then I went on the village website, and I typed in this person's name in the search box, and the others. It's a large northwest Chicago suburb. I think we've got 70,000 people here. It's a pretty sizable suburb. So I searched this guy's name, and there's no evidence of this guy. But apparently he has an office at the village hall. And again, all of this is taking place at the police station, not at the county level, where most moving violations are sent, which seemed a little odd to me.
Really,
and,
the county as far as wait 1 second, county as opposed to the city? I mean, it kind of depends on the agency who's giving you the ticket. So if a police officer for the city is giving you the ticket, then it's generally handled by the municipal court. If you're giving it by the sheriff, then it will typically be done in the justice court if it's a minor traffic like this.
Well, it certainly was minor, and again, I haven't had tickets in years, and my experience in the past was there's a large county building very nearby here, and I think most of the northwest Chicago suburbs use this county building, again, speculating, but because this is a compliance, this is happening at the police station. Again, it was a little confusing to me. But that's what I've got. There is a prosecutor. I don't know if the officer is going to be involved, and that's what I know.
Well, it's probably, and because that you're going to have to, well, to be proper, you're going to have to strike out the Brady stuff. But you know what? Leave the Brady stuff in there. Let them argue it's not required in there. Throw it in there anyway.
Okay, great.
What the hell?
Yeah, we're working on changing the information in the documents you sent from Arizona to Illinois. Looking forward to submitting them.
Okay, but the majority of the citations are Illinois. It might say Arizona court, but that's because you have to change that either way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. For those listening, the templates are all crossed over for whatever so-called state that we're dealing with. And I do want to point out for you and everyone listening, there's no guarantee, and I don't say that the motion is some kind of silver bullet. I even say that most of the time it gets denied or it isn't even ruled on at all. But it sets the stage for your defense, and it makes it easier for you to argue. And what it has done is the prosecution, when they see how serious you are, we're going to take it to trial, tend to withdraw based on, I believe, our defense. So keep that in mind. You should be prepping as if you are going to court. So you want to be using all the same tactic of holding the cop to his burden of proof, the guy who actually made the allegation against you. And just know the cop is probably not some half. I got to watch myself. I said I was not going to use insults.
Understood.
The police officer is not going, and the hearing officer is not. They're not going to make any claims that you're raising a philosophical argument, because you could just say objection is what argument? I'm just asking a question, right? Yeah. Well, how the hell is a question an argument? Unless you're arguing, my question is argumentative. In which case that is nonsense, because I asked him for proof. Asking for proof is not argumentative. I don't care who disputes that. If you just say what evidence does your claim rely on, that's not an argumentative question.
Clearly, to me and you and I, of course, and many others like us, but
yeah, but we know the narrative. The courts and the government are always right. The lawyers are always right. Leave it to the experts. If you dispute that, you're always wrong, and they'll always find some way to spin it. There's always and it's usually taken that we're misunderstanding the rules because we're just stupid. By the way, which would be an ad hominem, not just an insult. So, do you have a hearing date for this set?
I do. It's September 6th at 10 in the morning, and it should be interesting. If it all goes pear-shaped, I think it's going to be a great learning experience one way or another. My brother-in-law is going to go with me.
Cool.
He's among the similar mindset that we are, and those that listen, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you threw me a curveball with that. I'm from Long Island. I'm not from Chicago. What do you mean it's all going to go pear-shaped?
Well, think of a woman who's pear-shaped as a... I gotta be careful what I say here. Never mind.
Okay. I'll look it up.
I first heard that term in England, So maybe talk with some of the fellows over on that side. They may be able to better describe the things going pear-shaped.
Okay, I'll probably be able to look things up and get it in the video for that. Hopefully, will be posted tomorrow. So, if
Okay,
I'm gonna look just 1 second because we're a little low on calls today. Yeah, no one is jumping in on the chat to tell me what the hell that means. So that's okay. So we'll figure that out. Anyway, so what do we need to do to focus on? What do you have you been doing some role playing? What do you feel that you're just not really up on to be able to defend yourself effectively against these people, if any?
Well, I spent quite a bit of time listening to Joe Pierce, and I've listened to your show now for a couple of years. We just signed up. My brother-in-law and I just signed up to get in the Skype chat. So we're going to be doing that here for the next month and getting ourselves tuned up and ready to put the gloves on.
Yeah, and not that I would do this in Chicago. I would do it in one of the suburbs, but I still encourage people. We don't want to just discredit them online, like on the forum or whatnot. It's really effective to prep a court by going to a city council meeting and confronting them in real time. The actual, where there's very little risk of retaliation from them, and put the questions to them. Because I want to point something out here. It's one thing, and I'm not giving any credibility whatsoever to this philosophy stuff because it is garbage from beginning to friggin' end. Stupid reasoning. But when you get out of court and you make these challenges in a city council meeting, they don't have the excuse that it's a political question or a philosophical question and they don't have No. That's an issue. The courts can't hear political questions. I'll grant you that. Not that we're making a political issue. We're not. Okay? But the critics are out of excuse. They're out of at least one more excuse. They have to go to their crap factory and create another stupid, excuse. So go to a city council meeting and ask them straight up, look, this, correct me if I'm wrong here. You operate under the presumption that if someone is physically in, let's just say Cicero, that your laws apply and you have jurisdiction over them, right? And yep. Then ask them, do you have any evidence at all to support that? Is it possible for you to prove that today? They can't start howling philosophy. They can't start screaming it's a political question because you're not in court.
Okay.
So that's another, so just maybe, because I'm kind of, like when you see a car crash and you have this morbid curiosity to see, I kind of have that. I want to part of me wants to hear just what stupid thing one of these guys will come up with to say that the city council can make the claim that the laws apply because you're physically in Cicero. But when you ask for proof, they somehow can't answer it. I love to hear the explanation because the philosophy one or the political one just won't cut it.
Yeah, I don't know if there will be a city council meeting from now till my court date, but if there is, I'll certainly give a look into seeing if I can attend and stir the pot a little bit and ask some questions.
You do have almost 5 weeks, so
yes,
I'm assuming that at least once a month they're going to have one. And so look in the area and you could be safe. Don't do it in the same area you've got the ticket. Obviously you want to, go somewhere else. And then, and check the time. And for anyone else listening, get to a city council and do this because we need to be discrediting them on all fronts, not just, on the show or going to court.
Sure.
So the basic premise that you're keeping the burden of proof on the prosecution?
Yes. I'm reasonably confident that I can. Obviously I've never done it, but I can reasonably well spoken. I can, I know a few words, so I think I can do okay in keeping the focus. And but my brother-in-law and I we kind of banter back and forth, trying to just in day-to-day conversation along the lines of querying and not making statements and in kind of preparation of this. We have a lot of fun with it, quite honestly.
Oh, good.
Kind of cool.
Good. And so it'll, with some role playing on the web, on the Skype chat and going to a city council meeting, by the time you have to go, and you're not even going to court, you're just going to go into a conference room at the police department.
That's what I believe is going to be the case. It's interesting. It mentions something, I think in your paperwork it said a judicial tribunal, and this mentions on the ticket itself administrative something.
Okay, and it's an administrative hearing, but the same principles apply.
Hearing, yeah.
Well, the same principles are going to apply. And so after going through this with the city council meeting and the role playing, going into this, you should not have any issues as far as a surprise and not being able to handle the diarrhea that they're going to be spewing from their filthy mouths. Because for those listening, remember, there's only 6 types of questions we're going to be asking. 6 types of leading questions that we're going to be asking. So it's not that much to remember. Who, what, where, when, why, and how. And so when they throw something out at you, assuming this is a lie, this is a contradiction, knowing that, it's very easy to then frame a question to bring out that contradiction. And so it's like you said, again, we're just asking these questions and not making affirmative statements. So when they turn around and say, but your argument is frivolous, what do you say?
My argument, he's stating that my argument is frivolous?
Yes, I'm the hearing officer, and you're asking questions about evidence, and you're using the Socratic method, right? And I'm saying, sir, your argument is frivolous.
Well, I would ask you, well, how is it frivolous? You just made the statement that it's frivolous. Tell me how it's frivolous.
Well, you don't want to do that. That's not a leading question, is it?
It's sort of.
No,
I suppose it is.
No, because you're leaving you're leaving all the information for him to give you.
I didn't give him the answer. Yes, I understand now. Yeah, I didn't put the answer in the statement.
There you go. I think a better one would be. Well, excuse me. Let me see if I understand you correctly. I asked a question, right? See, that's a nice leading question to show.
He's got to answer in the affirmative. Of course, I asked a question.
Yeah. Now you're following. Oh, so now I'm the bureaucrat. Well, yes, you did ask a question. Yes. And
so was the answer yes or no?
Well, I'm saying to you as the hearing officer, yes, you did ask a question, Rick. Okay, I think you're losing see, the initial part that what we're trying to do is show that you did not raise a frivolous argument. So that's why you ask him, excuse me, didn't I just ask a question? Yes, you did. Okay, so
how is it an argument? I'm asking a question.
Or you could better. So is it your position my question is argumentative?
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, so it's not so. Oh, so your position. So you could even go further if he continue, because he's got to realize you just making him look stupid. He's like, all right, buddy, you made your point. I made a mistake. But now you can go back and you can further say, you can say, so your position is that my asking you for evidence is an argumentative question. Really?
Yeah. Where does he go from there?
There's
nowhere to go.
So you spoke. You're not correct when you said that my question for proof was argumentative or a frivolous argument. Okay. So now you go back to the original question. Could you just answer the question now? What evidence do you have to support your claim that just because I'm physically in Illinois, your rules apply to me?
Yeah, and they're going to backpedal with some nonsense, of course. Well, because it says it is.
Yeah. So your position is circular. You're saying a written instrument applies to me because someone wrote it down.
And they have to answer in the affirmative, I would think. What are they? No, that's not right.
Of course it's not.
What are you saying?
So then what proof do you have that this written instrument? Remember, it's a written instrument. It's an issue of fact. And issues of fact don't depend on someone's opinion from 100 years ago to determine whether it's accurate or not. Right. So there's a difference, everybody, between res judicata and stare decisis. And boy, do the lawyers love stare decisis and conflating that with res judicata as if a legal opinion from 200 years ago or even 5 years ago has anything to do with an issue of fact today. So, all right, well, I I would continue, but I do have another call I want to get to before we are done. But we will be live on Saturday, so definitely do the role playing. And if you want to spend more time doing this on the air, which is great, give me a call back on Saturday or another Wednesday.
Yeah, if we're available Saturday afternoon, I may have my brother-in-law sit in with me, and we'll bounce the ball back and forth with you. Looking forward to it. This was great. Thanks for spending so much time with me. I'm very thankful.
You're welcome. I appreciate it. Keep in touch. It's Rick in Illinois over there. Hopefully things don't go down pear-shaped on September 6th. 10 a.m. Okay, we got time for another call here. We've got Matt in Nashville. Matt, welcome back to the show. You got an update for us?
Yes. Hello, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing well. You got good news?
So, went to my hearing, and basically the judge attempted to deny everything. And
he attempted to, or he did?
Oh, he did. But I called him on jurisdiction, called him on everything, and he still set a trial date and everything, which I thought was interesting. Even though I refused to plead, he said you had these two options: you decide plead guilty or not guilty, and fill out this form to either represent to get permission to represent yourself. I said I don't need approval to represent myself, and I'm not going to plead today.
Oh, but Matt, we have the unsigned plea of guilty, so we say we intend on pleading guilty if the prosecution has met their prima facie burden.
Okay. Well, I can still go back. That's correct.
Well, you pled, so yes, you can still always plead guilty. You can still say, hey, I'm more than happy to plead guilty. See, and I have to do a video about this. So the judge in Ed's case in, I guess that was in Ohio, misled Ed by saying he actually admitted, and I have a transcript of this. I'll get this maybe I'll get that in this video also. So kind of a heads up, a preview of it. He admitted that evidence to prove jurisdiction has yet to be seen. He actually said that. It's in the transcript. So just moments before starting a trial, Robert Wynn, who I have a picture of, actually said, in response to evidence of jurisdiction, which you could have done and still can do, has yet to be seen.
That's awesome.
He admitted that he hadn't met his prima facie burden, admitted to a Brady violation, admitted to a serious due process violation of not providing the discovery. None of that matters to the lawyers. Why? Because you got a prison system. And hey, those were the prison system, right, Matt?
Yeah, well, the thing is I objected to, they said they wouldn't provide me calibration records and that sort of thing, and I objected to it. He said, you can't object because we're already in motion and that sort of thing. Just really tried to suppress me and tried to get me to be silent and be intimidated, which I was not.
Oh, my gosh. So I love it when they come out and they say, you can't object. Excuse me? I just did.
Exactly.
And if you're going to threaten me with jail because I'm objecting, you do realize that's an acknowledged legal tactic. That's what you do as a defendant and as a plaintiff. You object. That's how you preserve an issue for appeal.
Yeah, and clearly denied due process and denied my cross-examination as well. I mean, totally tried to shut me up completely.
Wait,
interesting.
I thought that it was set for trial, but you haven't had a trial.
I had a hearing, actually. It's a hearing on the motion, on my motion to motion. Yeah, the hearing on my motion.
Yeah, but you haven't been denied. You haven't been denied cross-examination, though, unless they put the cop on the stand at the hearing and you couldn't question him.
Oh no, they didn't. They didn't do that.
Yeah,
but
so
I wasn't able to. I wasn't able to object to the prosecutor though at all. And I wasn't able to even ask the prosecutor a question. I said, you can't have a dialogue with her now. I was like, really? It seems very screwy to me.
I thought we were at a hearing. You see, this is something that they do. And so what they did to a good man in California was they, based on the testimony of an IRS agent, ordered him to come into court and show cause why the agent shouldn't get the relief he was looking for. He points out the agent admittedly has no evidence, admittedly wasn't qualified to do the affidavit. So what does the judge do? What would any rational person do? Oh, you cancel the hearing so he doesn't get a chance to confront his witness.
Yeah, and I did question him. I did say, where's your evidence of jurisdiction? Where is it? And, that he even had probable cause to stop me and that sort of thing. And he just kept quoting a statute. And I said, that's a circular argument, Your Honor. He's like, we're not here to argue. This is the law. So he didn't really give me an opportunity. It was just kind of funny. I objected a ton, but he just overruled everything. Just kind of, it's so corrupt. And
well, I don't know if you did this, and I'm very short for time. I do want to point out an objection. That would be objection. It's assuming facts that are obviously not in evidence, sir. Are you assuming the laws apply just because the police officer said so, or are you basing it on some kind of evidence?
Yes, and I did email you my notes, and you have a look at those and just let me know what you think. But yeah, it was crazy. But I'm digging my heels in, and we're going to fight it. And I like I said, appreciate you taking my call, and
sure,
thankful for what you do.
Do you have the opportunity to do the role playing and get to a city council meeting?
It's in Illinois, so I'm probably not going to make a city council meeting, but
you could do it with Rick.
For sure. What's that?
You could do one with Rick.
True that. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I will do that.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to do it in Illinois. You can do it in Nashville. You can do it in your local area.
Yes, that's true.
I wouldn't do it necessarily where you live. I'd go a town over, but you still can do it.
Yeah, I'm very, very interested in it for sure. And
cool.
I don't have to do anything until the 13th, but I'm going to, refile my motion to dismiss, and then also, do the jurisdiction again. I'm going to resubmit it and just. She called my discovery request a fishing expedition, which is clearly not. They're trying to deny me the key piece of evidence. So it's a joke.
Okay, real quick before we end the show here. Okay, so asking for the name of the witness with personal knowledge that the laws apply to you and you violated them, that's fishing.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I said. I said, this is a key piece of evidence. This is far from fishing. This is the foundational aspect of what you're trying to use to convict me of a crime. And then he said, you can't object to that. I'm like, I just did. So, it's crazy.
See, this is what I was talking about, how damn dishonest they are. They do not want, the judge is telling you point blank that you cannot object and challenge an allegation of the prosecution. And
yeah.
If that is not evidence that you are in a rigged game, so you have personal knowledge. I'm taking your word on it. I have a transcript that has the same things in it that I'm going to have in the video and in another video. That's evidence of a rigged game. If you cannot, that would be the same thing as saying that I'm violating the rules of the Olympics if I use steroids or something, or okay, and I can't challenge their assertion that the rules apply to me. I'm like, are you out of your mind? Well, nope. The rules apply, and if you want to object, you can't do that because then it would be philosophy. The rules apply. So even if I never engage the Olympics at all, I can't challenge it. Now, anybody with half a brain would say, well, that's ridiculous. But the lawyers would say, that's apples and oranges. No, we have a group of men and women that are saying these rules apply to me because they said so. And they're not allowing me to challenge it at all. And it's the same damn thing. And
exactly.
So you've already gone through that. So what I would get ready is the motion in limine ready to go and the motion to dismiss for prosecutorial misconduct. I would probably also move to disqualify the judge because he's openly telling you he's not allowing you to defend yourself. He's told you that point. I can send you the motion to change the judge. You put that in there, his own statements. That he's not allowing an objection to a prosecution argument.
Yes, and I did actually bring in a recorder and tape the whole proceeding and that sort of thing. And my phone actually rang. He made me get out of the courtroom and take my phone out to the hallway and then come back. It was ridiculous.
Wow.
They really tried to make it as intimidating as possible. I was smiling the whole time though because it's just like it's a joke. But,
they are crooks. They are crooks. I am out of time. I do need to go. For anyone on the line, I'm sorry. I do apologize that I am out of time. I can't go over today much, but I am live again on Saturday and be more than happy to field calls for the 3-hour broadcast on Saturday. Hey, Matt, I appreciate that. Yeah, I really appreciate you calling in and giving us personal firsthand testimony of just how corrupt and these people are and how the system is rigged. And so now with more evidence of that, when people start saying that we're the idiots, no. Now we've got them against the wall as apologists for a group of criminals. To say that the prosecution can argue about something and you can't challenge or object to it, rigged game. That's not fair. Because, I'll let you go. Let me know if you can get to a city council meeting, okay?
You got it, Mark. Thanks so much.
All right. Appreciate it. Good luck. What I want to point out here is what Matt just said, which we've heard on the show, people testify to, and we've reported on this many, many times. If someone says that if someone makes a claim against you and you cannot defend against it for whatever reason, philosophy, economics, Odin, for whatever reason, if you are not permitted to challenge it, not only is that grossly unfair and evidence of a rigged game, but under the sacred rules given from the hand of Odin himself to these larger than life, these bureaucrats, these wonderful people who enrich our lives and make peace possible, gave it to them. But by their own sacred law, due process requires at a bare minimum notice and opportunity to defend, to turn around, you dishonest crooks, you, and say that you can make a claim against me or somebody else, and we cannot object to it, and we cannot challenge it, is a denial of your own sacred rule of due process. It is not an opportunity to defend. It's your whole case. You have no case without your sacred document. You have no case without the Constitution. It all flows from that. So there you go. Here a judge in Nashville or the Nashville area is telling Matt, again, like we've heard so many times, we force you to pay us. We have a prison system, you idiots. We don't have to have evidence. We can make claims against you, and we exempt ourselves from having to have a burden of proof. Yeah, you exempt yourselves, you dishonest crooks, you. And that's what you get with this philosophy crap. We can make the rules, you have to follow them, you don't get to challenge them. Sounds like an authoritarian lunatic to me, not someone who's honorable. And to go and be a shill for that. Fungal is pathetic, it's disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. We make the rules. You don't get to challenge. You don't like it. Move to Somalia. That's what you get from a group of narcissist, authoritarian crooks. And Matt just gave us further evidence of that. There's no spinning that. Make a claim against somebody that's going to damage them and they can't defend against it. That's the definition. The definition of unfair. Even the lower, obviously it's a denial of justice, but even the much lower standard of due process, because you can't even meet that. Notice an opportunity to defend. Yeah, fungal. That's what you're really saying. Anyway, I'm completely out of time. I'm sorry. I will be back live on Saturday for 3 more hours of Anarchy Radio right there on. It will be on the LRN broadcast. But this has been episode 28 of the commercial-free edition of the No Stay Project. A full hour uninterrupted of Anarchy Radio because, hey, lying, stealing, killing, and cheating people is wrong, even if you call yourself a government. And if you accept the double standard, which I don't, then fungal. We don't. We go based on the evidence, objective proof, what you can prove. because that which can be asserted without evidence can be dismissed without evidence. And so till next time, salud.